So today's video, it's actually kind of negative. I'm not really a negative type of person, but I think this is like really important for you all to know. So today's video is going to be on the lessons that you really need to learn before you start writing your story. You know, the hard truths that you really need to get to grips with to really find out if writing episode is for you, because it's fun, it's wonderful, there are so many positives, but it's not always laughs and giggles. Lesson 1. There is always going to be someone who is better than you, and you need to deal with it. Like, you need to learn that it's okay, that people will always be better than you. I mean, only one person can be the most read author on episode. Only one person can be #1 in trending. And while you might get there at some point, somebody's going to take you over again. Inevitably, it's going to happen. So you need to deal with the fact that your story isn't going to have the most reads on the whole of episode. You're probably not going to get the most reads out of everyone on episode. Somebody else's story is going to do better quicker than yours. Somebody is going to be able to write quicker than you do. It's life. Someone's going to have more followers on Instagram than you do. That is life. There is nothing you can do about it. Someone's always going to be better, but that doesn't mean that you can't be your best. But you need to be okay with that, because otherwise your life is like, writing will just be about competition and like sadness. Like, if you compare yourself to other people's reads all the time and their followers all the time, you're just going to be miserable, because there's so many people in the episode world, and there's so many people that can be more successful than you, but that's not what it's about. So you just need to get over it. Just get over it. 2. Practice makes perfect, but you've got to practice a lot. When you first start writing, you're going to encounter so many errors, like not just coding errors, but like spelling errors and writing errors and grammatical errors, and there's going to be a lot of difficulties. And, you know, it might be hard for you to sit down and write and not get distracted. That was my biggest problem, like getting distracted, because I get distracted by everything. But if you just practice getting into the zone, practice sitting down, practice coding, practice writing, it will all come to you in your head eventually. It will eventually stay there, but you're going to have to practice so much. I'd say it took me 6 months to be fluent episode, and that's 6 months of like working every single day, 6 months of practicing every day. But I'm happy with where I am in my episode knowledge now. So there we go. You just got to practice. 3. You will need to learn how to code, and it's not easy. Don't be fooled, kids. It's not easy. I know there's some very young people that write episode, and all the power to them, but it's so hard. Like, there's numbers. I say that like everyone struggles with numbers. Like, there's loads of numbers and like little things. Like, if one letter is off or one number is off, then it's not going to work. So coding is incredibly difficult, but the more you learn, the better it will be. So there is full comprehensive guides on the episode websites, like episodeinteractive.com. But if you just click on that guide section, it will teach you everything you need to know about coding. And then there are some amazing YouTube tutorials as well. Joseph Evans, as always, is one of the best to help with coding. So if you check out his videos, you'll be able to learn a bit faster. But before you even start writing on episode, learn the coding, do some practice. You'll get there, but you have to know how to code. You can't just write. Most people can write, but combining it with the coding, that's the hard stuff. So, for me anyway. Next tip. It doesn't matter how much you plan, how much you write, or how much you code. If you don't publish it, you're not getting anywhere. Your story is never going to get any reads if it's not out. I know you shouldn't publish until you're like fully ready, but I know so many people that will write, me included, will write stuff and come up with ideas and get stuff started and then never ever publish it. If it's not published, no one can read it. No one can give you feedback. No one can recommend what you might do in the future. No one can praise you for it. Like this, you get so much motivation when you see your story going up in trending, or when you get a message like, oh my goodness, this was the best story I've ever read. But if you haven't published, you're never going to get there. Like, you're never going to have that. So publish. Hit that button. Hit that publish button. Do it right now, even if it's not finished. No, I'm kidding. Don't publish if it's not finished. Oh, my eye. I got too angry, and now I've got an eyelash in my eye. Oh, no, wait, we're okay. This is probably the hardest thing for everyone to get over. And that is, criticism is hard and you are going to get it. You're just going to have to get over it. Like, some people will really give you constructive criticism, and instead of being like offended by that, you need to learn to take it on board and grow from it. Because a lot of the time, if people are giving you constructive criticism, they don't want to hurt you or upset you. They just want the best for you. So you need to learn to take constructive criticism and move on with it, like move forward and take it on board. However, not all criticism is constructive. Some people are just arseholes. So you're going to get some hate. No matter what you do, if your story becomes successful or noted, people are going to have some horrible things to say. They always do. You're going to be called all kinds of things. Like, I have been called racist and homophobic and sexist, and I glamorize abusive relationships and everything under the sun. I've been told my story's boring and too short and not original and poorly written. And sometimes people will make like Instagram accounts just to slander you, and sometimes people will make posts on Instagram just to try and hurt your feelings. There's no constructive criticism in it. It's just criticism. People will do that. Some people have very small lives that are this big. So they like to do that kind of thing. They get jealous when people are more successful than them. And they are petty little bitches. I'm not directing this at anyone. Like, this is no indirect. But if the shoe fits, there you go, hun. There you go. I'm not really like a horrible person or anything, but literally, if you're that petty that you create like an Instagram account just to insult somebody or their work, then sort yourself out. Nobody cares about you doing anything anonymously. Like, you're not badass. You're just a pussy on the internet. They're the worst types. I tried to do that whole segment without swearing, and I have so many horrible words in my mouth, like on the tip of my tongue to come out. But don't give them the time of day. Like, when I get like nasty criticism that's like not constructive, a lot of the time I just ignore it, because like I don't want to give the time of day to that type of negativity, because I know if they said it to me in real life, I would not care at all, because I'd be like, who are you? Like, I don't care about you at all. So don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Just get over it. You gotta learn how to deal with it. So just deal with it. The final one might be the hardest thing, the hardest lesson. And that is, you need to get over your own excuses. I do it. Like, I'm not saying like I'm innocent of any of these things. Like, you know, I take a lot to heart and I don't practice as much as I should and whatever. I'm not saying that I don't do any of these things, but stop making excuses for why you can't write and why you can't publish and why you're not doing it quick enough and why you can't update. They're your own excuses. There's 24 hours in the day and everyone has the same 24 hours. Like, even like if you're lacking motivation, sit down and do it. Or at least try and find ways to get motivation or find ways to get inspiration. If you're busy, fine, sleep less. Like, there are so many excuses. Like, my excuses that I give myself is, I'm busy. There's 24 hours in a day. Like, I'm not that busy. Like, seriously. I'm tired. Have some caffeine. Take a nap and then do it. I have no motivation. Well, find some motivation. Even if I have no motivation, just sit down and do directing. Like, motivation, inspiration, you know, just sit down, do directing. Just literally force yourself to do it. You know? Excuse, I don't think my story idea is that good. Well, make it better. Then publish it. Why do I look like this girl all the time? Anyway, yeah, get over your own excuses, because although people will be understanding, like I found, like, for example, I wanted to publish 2 chapters on Friday. I told everyone I was going to do it, and then I literally ran out of time, and I ended up publishing the next day, and everyone was understanding and nobody cared. But I knew that if I had stopped making excuses during the week for myself, like, oh, I'm so tired, because I was really tired this week, I could have done it. I could have got it done, but instead I took many naps. And nobody's going to suffer from that except for me. And it's the same with you guys. Like, if you're making excuses for yourself and then just like not doing the work, the only person you're harming there is yourself. They're my tips. They're my lessons that you have to learn before you start writing. They are the hard truths that you might not want to hear, but you have to hear. IMO, in my opinion. If you like this video, don't forget to comment and like and subscribe. Let me know what you think are the hard truths that you need to learn. Don't forget to check out The Transfer, my newest story that I have recently published. I'm literally going to break so many things. Okay, I'm going now. I'm going now, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. As always, I love you guys so much. YouTube is the best. Almost as good as episode. Almost. Not quite.